poorly. I was asked by Father Don last week to prepare for a little address, and it's going to be a brief address called in Latin Lectio Brevis. Lectio Brevis. Lectio Brevis means a short lecture. And a short lecture based on what do I call it? What I call general norms for success at university and in life. General norms for success at university and in life. You have heard about Ojore. I have been teaching in Tangaza since 1994. So apart from a gentleman called Odinga, who is the IST BA program leader, I am the second oldest. Odinga is the oldest, not oldest, the longest serving member of staff at Tangaza. And I'm the second longest serving member of staff at Tangaza. I have met some of you during orientations at Tangaza in the hall. I have that misfortune of always doing some welcome for the new students. I'm joking now, it's not a misfortune, it's always a privilege to do that. I have always done it gladly over so many years. And so when Father asked me to come and talk to social communication students, I thought that was a privilege because you are a special group of students who are not just taught by any academic long pen or reference. You have to be qualified in social communication. And so when he asked me to come and talk to students who are preparing to do very special things in life, I thought that was a privilege, and here I am, just to share with you 4 points. And the first one I want to discuss with you is about personal grooming. I said I was going to talk about secular things, but they are very holy because personal grooming has got to do with the way you take care of yourself physically. We say in English, cleanliness is next to godliness, isn't it? So the issue of personal grooming is important. And so many people do not take this seriously. I may shock you by telling you that my experience in the UK when I first arrived was a very bad experience. I was sitting next to a doctoral student in Chester, University of Chester in the UK. I did my PhD in Cambridge for 5 years. I was on and off. I was teaching here and going there, so my PhD took longer than 3 years. So I did it in 5 years. And so while I went for a conference, I was sitting next to a white lady, and I thought there was a dead lizard next to me because the stench from the dandruff in her head was impossible to bear. I had to move because I thought I was going to puke. Personal cleanliness, personal grooming is very important in life. There are some students that when they walk into my office and leave the office, I have to leave the office and open all the windows just for fear that should my fellows start walking, they will think I'm the one stinking. So I walk out and leave the room for the air to settle. Personal grooming. You know, are you carrying a microclimate around you so that when you pass, people smell a different climate? It's important for us as young people that we take our personal appearance very seriously, that the ambience around us is a very healthy ambience, and that people who get into contact with us feel at home and feel they are happy. Even brushing teeth, by the way, last Mass we had on Tuesday in the hall, one of the lecturers, when we went for lunch, was telling me, Ojore, I always like the fact that after lunch you brush. Many of you have seen me when you are coming from lecture, and you see me brushing my teeth after lunch. Imagine eating omena, Kisumu boys. And then I have not brushed. So I go to my office and I'm sitting there, and my master student walks in and sits next to me, and we are trying to go through the thesis. You can imagine. Yeah? Mapua, isn't it? The student will be looking that way and not looking. Grooming is important in life. And your presence should be a presence that brings joy, not disgust. Your presence should be a presence that makes people attracted towards you. You should never be an object of repulsion, but an object of attraction. This is important for young people today, because some young people have developed phobia for water. They don't bathe, they don't brush their teeth. Imagine someone is smoking a cigarette and drinks of, what do you call it, Tusker, and then he comes to school. When he opens his mouth, it is like an open sewer line. The only difference is the location. So grooming is important. Grooming is very, very important. In your dressing, how do you appear in public? We don't just have that warning there, mind your dressing, dress code. You know, how you appear in public tells people who you are, particularly when you are ready. Are you ask for the asking, ever available, ever present? Is that the communication you are giving people as you pass them, as you meet them? So I want to appeal to you, and particularly you who are going to be media people. I hope someday some of you will visit Rome, the eternal city, and you see how the people, media people dress and appear in public. Even when you look at the BBC fellows, even Al Jazeera, they don't appear like some mentally disturbed Rastafarians. No. You have to know that if you're going to be a successful media person, you are supposed to also portray the dignity of the fourth estate. Carry the dignity of the fourth estate with you, wherever you are going. So that is a point number one. Personal grooming. Please take care of yourself, the way you appear, the way you groom yourself. In the era of science and technology, we have sprays. If you know that you have problems with perspiration and you can't do much about the smell you carry around, go and buy spray. If you can afford Tusker, you can buy spray. Yeah? And smell nice. Don't stink. Smell nice. That is very important. So be neat. Avoid this. Of course, I know torn jeans are in fashion. Imagine people spending money on torn trousers. I don't understand it. But anyway, that is your generation, and you think it is very nice. Point number two that I want you to think about this afternoon is about personal discipline. Personal discipline. You will not succeed, you will never succeed if you do not cultivate the culture of self-discipline. It is absolutely necessary for success. There is no choice. You will not achieve anything without discipline. Appearing for lectures at 8:30. Lectures begin at 8:30 in Tangaza. Be there. If you live so far away, leave your place early to be in Tangaza on time. Parents, benefactors are paying for you money, and you must give back value for that money. Please. So, personal discipline as a student starts with appearing on time. Some people are perpetually late. They may even be late for their own personal funerals in future. Submitting your assignment on time. Deadlines and dates are given to you to submit your assignments. Do it on time. Your vocation now is study. Please, that is your vocation now. Nothing else. Study. That is your vocation. That's what God wants you to do now in Tangaza. That's your vocation now. Vocation means a call. You are called to be a diligent student. Diligent and studious. Diligent and studious. In other words, you make the library your second home. Please, don't destroy your sight by reading things here that you're reading a journal on a mobile. By the time you get to my age, you will be blind. Please take my warning seriously. If you want to read either on a desktop, you are advised you should not be reading for more than 2 hours on a laptop. pedestal. There is something that you cannot replace. The relationship between you and a text that has been published is mandatory. Please create a relationship with a book. Sit down with a book. My friends, you don't read books. You book a ticket. You read books. I don't know if you get the joke and the difference. Some people read books. No, we don't read books. We read books. You only book tickets. So make the library your second home. You sit there until your backside aches. This is your vocation. Sitting down, read books. If you want to be a successful person in the future, if you want to experience a miracle in social structure, moving from low strata to high strata, only education gives you the upward mobility. Tim's grandfather, my father, was not a rich man. He was a returnee from the Second World War. My father dropped out of primary 2. But primary 2 of 1930s, he was able to read and write. Class 2. Primary 2 children nowadays are not able to read and write. But my father at the age, dropped out of class 2, but he was able to read and write. And the reason was hard work, good teachers. And when he was taken to the Second World War to fight in 1939, and he was away, he left a young wife, my mother Seraphine, for 5 years. But he had the opportunity to come to Langata Barracks, and from Langata to Mombasa to Suez Canal, the Red Sea, and to Alexandria. Alexandria to Beirut, Lebanon. Lebanon to Jerusalem. And he saw that the soldiers who were educated were given respect and honor and high places. And he told me, son, if you want to be somebody in future, go to school, study. So my father was a farmer working extremely hard to educate us. My mother sold bosa, traditional beer, to educate, to raise some money, to give dad something to educate us. And we went to school. Tim's own father, who is my elder brother. If you want the world to read about you and get to know who you are, sit down and read and work hard and become the best journalist Kenya has ever produced. And it is possible. You are in a very good university with facilities and with lecturers who care. And this means that you want to broaden your mind to a level where you suffer what we call brain implosion. You must know, be a gentleman, a man and a woman who has a gentle understanding of everything. You must be good at arts. Read literature textbooks. Your generation is so lazy. You can watch videos for 2 hours on your phone, but you cannot sit down and read a novel called Things Fall Apart. It's an African classic written by Chinua Achebe. If you are in the university, you have never read Things Fall Apart, you are an nincompoop. If you have never read James Booby, The River Between, Weep Not Child, A Grain of Wheat, Petals of Blood, The Devil on the Cross. If you have not read Nuruddin Fana from Somalia, From a Crooked Rib, or El Sadawi's The Hidden Face of Eve, a novel from Egypt, A Man of the People. If you have not read For Whom the Bell Tolls by Ernest Hemingway, one of the top journalists the world has ever produced, Ernest Hemingway. Now we have Ernest Hemingway Hotel here, named after him. He was a journalist who covered the Spanish Civil War. But a journalist must be a historian. You must read history, sister. You must read history to be able to write sensible historical pieces. You must be good at arts. You must be good at culture, religion. Sometimes when I read newspapers here, from Nation or KTN, they say, the head of the Catholic Church, Archbishop Anyolo. You see, that some idiotic journalist who does not know anything about religion. Yeah? The head of the Catholic Church is not the Archbishop of Nairobi. Who told you? The head of the Catholic when I see such silly mistakes, it just tells you, this fellow did not go through proper education. I did not even consult before writing. You give us errors. You know, your own mistakes, your own stupidity, and you want Dr. Ojore to align with your stupidity. Narrow-minded, idiosyncrasy and stupidity. No, we have no room for that. You must have studied religion. You must have knowledge in economics, in sciences. A journalist is supposed to be a round man, a round woman, very rich in understanding. You will not do it by sitting down under those Tangaza tents, selling philosophy that have no basis. So if you want to be a mediocre journalist, just go to social media websites and be satisfied with very little. There was a day I saw two students from social communication walking from the registrar's office, and this beautiful girl was holding. Several years ago, Father had not come to the institute. Several years ago, I was coming from the registry, and I'm always very keen on students. So I see this poor lady that he was wearing very dirty jeans, hair and comb, and he was holding this beautiful girl, a daughter of someone, and I felt things moving in my intestines, and I was saying, if that was my daughter, you know, and what was it saying? I managed to pass this. They gave me a D, so I don't have to say, you are a daughter of Ojore, and you're here with your boyfriend, got a D. You should disengage and send them. Because you can't set your standards so low. No. God wants us to set our standards extremely high. The star, not even the sky is the limit. No, the skies are not the limit anymore. We transcend the skies and go beyond. So, with IT and whatever now you have, please, you can do a lot and become the kind of person that you want to be. By the way, I don't know if you understand, I talked about you going to be members of the Fourth Estate. Who are the members of the First Estate? If you are the Fourth Estate, it means there is the First Estate, the Second Estate, the Third Estate, and you, the Fourth. You come at the bottom. Who are the First Estate? Yes? No? No.
There are four estates, so
yes.
The journalists are the fourth estate.
Yes. The First Estate is God, the church, and the clergy. Please understand this. First Estate. God, the church, and clergy. They come first because it is God and the church that anoint the king and the emperors. The church anoints them. Without anointing from the church, they are not validly enthroned. So the First Estate, if you have never been taught, get it from the Son of Man this afternoon on the 3rd of October 2025. The First Estate is God, the church, and the clergy. They exercise soft power. Soft power. And soft power sometimes is much more powerful. You see, when the Pope comes around here, the way the president behaves like a high school boy. Yes. Soft power. Soft power. Second Estate, the king. Hello? There you go now. The Second Estate, the king and the lords. The royals. Princes and princesses. These are the Second Estate. The Third Estate, the military, the security forces, and some members of the rich. But remember, the Third Estate is feared by the Second Estate because the military can overthrow them the way they did overthrow King Louis XVI and his Queen Antoinette. King Charles of England also lost his head. The military is very powerful. That is why when a president takes over, he makes sure that if the chief of general staff is a Luo, he should be replaced by a Kalenjin very soon. That's why Ebola had to die. Because they fear the so-called third estate is a very powerful estate. You must have friends there, otherwise you must sit on the edge of the chair because very soon you will be shoveled off. So the third estate is very powerful. Then finally, you, the media, because the media, but remember the media at that time did not have the power that the media has now. Now, let me put it this way, the so-called, the third and the fourth estate are even more powerful than the first two. Because what you write can bring down a whole bishop in a diocese. Look, when you find a funny story and you write it about a bishop, the bishop will be called by Rome, please come run here quickly and hide in a monastery, isn't it? Who has brought a bishop down from a diocese? You, the fourth estate, isn't it? The person that we think is very low, isn't it? Yes, you expose scandals, and those scandals can ruin people, isn't it? Yes, can overthrow governments. So the fourth estate and the third estates, you are very powerful, the military and the journalists. So you must prepare yourself. Number three, what I wanted to tell you, teamwork as students, teamwork. Please, collaboration is my message for you this afternoon. Collaboration. Alone you perish, together you flourish. I am using a very poetic expression. Alone you perish, together you flourish. Very poetic, isn't it? And did you study poetry? Media people must be poets. Yes? So frequent group discussions is a must for university education. Don't be a loner who sits alone over there. You have seen the geographic videos when lions intend to kill wildebeest, not a wildebeest, but buffalo. Buffalo is a dangerous animal, right? It is perpetually angry. When you see one disappear, because it's already angry. And when now your presence is realized, that doubles the anger. So, when the lions want to kill this deadly animal, they isolate one from the rest. So when you are alone, you don't succeed. You will never succeed when you are alone, student. Don't even have overtrust in yourself because of your brain. You think you are the smartest thing God ever created on a Monday morning. The rest of your classmates were created on Friday when he was tired. So you have no reason why you should be sitting and sharing with the others. No. At university, please remember, there is no competition. There is no number one. That's why here we don't give you positions. Yeah? At university, you will get your degree. Okay? Some will be summa cum laude, magna cum laude if you are in theology, probatus, bene probatus. If you are in our secular realm, you will be getting Bachelor of Arts, Social Communication, first class, second class, third class. But as we are moving towards that, we are not interested in number one or whatever tops. No, we are not interested. In fact, at doctoral level, in some universities, PhD is a PhD. It is not even classified. You just become a doctor, full stop. Teamwork. Don't be a loner. In fact, what is shared to you by your fellow students, stick in your mind. You may forget what team teaches you in class, but what your colleague tells you in group meetings under those tents in the field will stick with you. So I want to encourage you that your motto must always be now, alone or isolation. No, it is group work. Let us do revisions together, let us but number 4, as I conclude, bad groups. That is my final word for you. Avoid bad groups. If you want to succeed, avoid bad groups. If your friends are constantly taking you to drink during the week, you know tomorrow is Tuesday, and you're supposed to submit an assignment, and someone comes with, there is a birthday party, and you know you will come from that place at 1 a.m. By tomorrow morning you will be drowsy, you will not have done your homework. You must sacrifice. If you want to go for parties, weekends. During the week, you must stick on your avoid bad rules. Fellows who are just taking you around, smoking funny things. You call it grass, weed. Yes, some people call it Mary Jane. Do you have some Mary Jane? Mary Jane means marijuana, isn't it? Hello? Mary Jane. So that the police don't know who you're talking about. But you're buying candy in the presence of a police officer. Because our policemen are idiots. They don't know when you're talking about Mary Jane. I don't care if your father is a police officer, but they're idiots. So, we need better educated police officers in this country. Yes, because the kind of things they're doing to citizens, no. So, bad rules, frequent parties, funny dressings, people who are all the time want to have sex, and you're a student. By the way, in May this year it was, a former MA student of IST sent me a very fascinating piece on my WhatsApp. I supervised her master's thesis. She works at the airport. And this lady sent me a very disturbing message in May. She comes from Migori. Migori is a town in Homa Bay, Western Kenya. And she was in a market trying to buy stuff to go home. And she sends me this story. Mwalimu, I was in a market trying to buy stuff to take to my mother at home. And I see this woman chasing a baby girl in the market. And she was screaming, degree, 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 running after the baby. So our students are taught to be very keen. So she was degree, the child. Okay, so Mama caught up with the little girl, then came back to her warehouse where she was selling stuff. And my student went and said, Mom, why were you calling this girl degree? And the woman's face fell. And she said, I sent her mother to Nairobi to go and get a degree, and she brought me this degree. What is that degree? BA degree. A fake BA degree, meaning bad accident. BA, bad accident. So you have not been sent here by parents to get fake degree before the actual degree is awarded by us. For the time being, my friends, your vocation is to study, not to play the role of a husband or the role of a wife. You will get married like me and you will get tired of these bad things. Wait until the time comes. Do not start doing things you are not qualified to do. Things that are immoral. The other day a student was asking me in class, my girlfriend loves me and I love her. What is wrong with us having it? I said, are you convinced about this? And he says, yes, Malim. I said, oh, is that so? Then I asked, through Christ, all women in this world, whether they are white, yellow, pink, green, blue, black, all women in the world are my sisters. Through Christ. Through his death and through baptism and confirmation, all women in this world are my sisters. And all men in this world are my brothers. This is the beauty of Christianity. It's the equalizer. Now, how did I marry Helen, my wife? My wife is called Helen. And she's a professor of economics at Strathmore University. I don't marry idiots. I don't say How did I marry my sister? Because to marry your sister, you break incest taboo. So if all women in the world are my sisters, I cannot marry any woman because it is incest. So what happens? The only time I can marry my sister called Helen is the sex taboo must be uplifted. And the only way the sex taboo is lifted so that I can marry my sister is when the sacrament of matrimony has been performed to uplift the sex taboo between me and this sister. And remember, when Father Dominic presides over that ceremony, he is only uplifting the sex taboo between me and heaven. All the other women remain my sisters. That is why adultery becomes a sin and so on. Now, if you are committing fornication, you are sleeping with your sister, you are committing incest because no sex taboo has been uplifted between you and this life. And that is why the church tells you that fornication is wrong, because you can't sleep with your sister unless you are mentally deranged. So please, as long as you're a student, let me put it in a very clear way. Women who are here, it is only girls who get pregnant. Boys never get pregnant. So ladies, as long as you're a student, keep your legs crossed throughout your study. Then, after your degree, you will be in a position even to pick who to live with, because you will be so highly valued that no known pen is qualified to come and hold your hand. You will not just go with any shenanigans, riffraffs and goons. No. Because you will have been tested like gold in a furnace, you will have been purified intellectually, socially, everything. So you deserve better. If for any reason you have had a baby in your life, I'm not condemning that. People slip, make mistakes, but then you emerge from that mistake with the determination to do it better. To do better. So that there are people who don't learn. They just keep bringing children in their parents' house, one after the other, just churning children out. As if you are a reproductive machine. And some fellows, and then they say, oh, you know, history repeats itself. History cannot repeat itself. It is human stupidity that repeats itself. Because we refuse to learn. We refuse to learn. Tim will tell you, I have 2 daughters. And I have talked to my daughters, there was no barrier between me and Irene and Mary. I used to take them to the garden, we sit somewhere, and then I tell them about sex between boys and girls, about, menstruation, because I couldn't leave that to the mother. And my daughters became my greatest friends. Tim knows, both of them are advocates of the High Court. And one just went to England last Sunday. She's doing masters at the University of Warwick. Their brother is in Scotland finishing his masters in communication, communication something. Yes, EBIT. Yeah. And Irene is here doing a wonderful job with this Zoom, the lawyer who is a member of the University Council. What do you call it? Gross, Mr. F. Gross. He's paying that. My daughter is earning 3 times what Tangaza is paying me. I'm earning same, and she's getting serious. And I'm delighted because I have given up. And they waited. I told them, Mom, please, wait. Be serious, girls. There is no room for failure in Ojore family, no. You just have to do it properly. But we also pray for them so that we don't have BA degrees before the actual degrees. Yeah. So, my friends, time will come. And I just want to say, my friends, you are in one of the best universities. I know it because I've taught in universities in this country and outside. In the US, I've taught in the US for nearly a month in Catholic University, DePaul Catholic University in Chicago, in Nigeria, in Enugu, in Lusaka. I've been here and I have toured and I have seen. No one goes to school, gets a degree and becomes a failure out there. No. It may take time for you to get a lifelong engagement. And so I talked about you getting, avoiding bad groups. But please, as a class, finally, take care of your brothers and sisters who are struggling. There's some of you who may not even have food. where they live. And for the 30 years I've been in Tangaza, I have had experiences that are heartbreaking. The student comes there with cracked lips, you can see cracked lips, white looking, hungry, has not eaten, and you must do something. And yet, there are some of you who are coming with scholarship cars. I hope your parents didn't steal our taxes to buy you those money cars. But you come from a place where there is no struggle for tuition. Think about your classmates who are struggling. If you just raise 2,000 shillings, you pay a semester's tuition for one of you, and you will have done something. And that person one day will become someone so important in Kenya, and you will go to that office, and even the secretary will not stop you from going in. You just tell the secretary, excuse me, I want to see the minister. Yeah, just tell the minister that Ojore is sitting outside here. The minister himself will come out to pick you. Yes, to the shock of the secretary, isn't it? Because there was social investment which was done a long time ago. So you can invest in one another, and one day you will reap the harvest. When you look at each other here, so you may take the presence of each one of you for granted. You will be shocked at what some of you will be in the next 10 years. Some of you looking at me here will be doing something spectacular in this country or outside. So don't take the presence of anyone here for granted. Look at every human being sitting next to you as what the Latin people will say, mysterium tremendum. Every person is a tremendous mystery. Yes, you are a mystery. You are looking at me, maybe you are thinking that I'm nasty. And God has created you in such a way that I can't know. You are a mystery. I'm a mystery to you. As I look at you, you have been looking at me very attentively. And I know this talk has touched you. Yes, it has. You cannot remain the same. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
God is good. All the time. Dr. Ojore, lecturers, and then our director, and everybody else, my fellow students. It's very humbling to be given this moment to appreciate the wisdom that has been poured in our presence in just a short while. It may look obvious, but I would say from where I sit, you have spoken on many levels, not only as an intellectual, but also as a parent. And this is something that really is touching to all of us. I know one of the mistakes that sometimes from where I sit, with the people who are given the chance to give a vote of thanks, is to give a summary of what was said. And I will not fall into that trap, because I don't want to dilute by any inch what you have given. But allow me to say this. One time, there was a toad, actually two toads, who were on a twig near a stream. Then, one of the toads decided to jump into the river, or into the stream. How many remained? That is actually the main, many people tell you one. Note, I said one decided to jump. It didn't jump, it only decided. So deciding to jump is not jumping. So we may find and page that as a very wonderful talk which have been given by one of our own. I'd like to be proud to say that. But if we don't really jump and take an action, then that will run into a waste. And this will not be helpful for all of us. So thank you so much. I promise you as a priest I will pray for you. I promise you that, and I'm sure the rest of us will also do the same, because you have really touched, and you have even touched what probably everybody else will not touch. Thank you even for saying who you are and the experience you have, because we never know. We might learn and get touched. I would wish to be like that, so that next time I'll also say, don't marry idiots. That is wonderful. So thank you so much, Dr. Ojore, and we really want to appreciate. I want to do two claps. One is for the mzee. Mzee, you don't just clap the noisy clap of making noise. Just fold it a bit, and then you just make 3 paw claps. 1 is 3. Just go by my count. So don't make taa is noisy. Mzee anataka ya pole pole. So just do it paw. 1, 2, and 3. Now, because we are the IC people, there's one thing that you have mentioned we use commonly is a computer. And a computer has 2 main parts. There is the hardware and the software. So we want to appreciate you by that. So when I say hardware is something you can touch, so you clap. And then, but remember it is the paw, and then the software, you just make it like this because there you can't touch the software. So software. Okay, software. Okay, let's start again. Software, hardware, software, hardware, software. Thank you.